Welcome to the latest instalment of Jibber Jabber with Jack. Today I'm joined by two very special guests, very passionate in the female space of football, and both started very young in their lives in their interest in the game, and both are first generation of Greek heritage. And to my left I have...
Hi everyone, my name's Helen. I'm a mum of three kids. My oldest is Zoe, Ava and Oliver. We all play football for Connells Point Rovers, and I coach as well. So we're very much into football. Football is pretty much part of our day every day. So yeah.
And to my right, I have...
Hi everyone, my name's Irene. Currently playing for San Susie FC, and so are my three children, Alexander, Helena and Antonia, and I also coach as well. So yeah, very much highly involved with soccer and at the moment.
Let's take your passion back to your very earliest memories, ladies. Helen, what can you recall about your early days of football?
Yeah, I probably ended up having a football as a gift when I was like my first birthday. So there's tons of balls around, but pretty much my earliest memory would be, 5 years old. I remember going to watch Sydney Olympic play in the men's NSL in the early 80s with my dad. I just remember all the noise, the shouting in Greek, the cigarette smoke, the pipes, the pumpkin seeds on the floor, and the langos bread, the Hungarian bread that they were doing at Budapest.
Yep, so that was at St George Stadium.
St George Stadium, yeah. So that was my first memory, and just the crowd and all that. But as I got older, obviously, the intense matches and the rivalries and that was really exciting for me.
Slightly a bit different for you, Irene.
Yeah, grew up. I can say that I'm a twin with a brother, and grew up following my brother around with all his soccer adventures and making reps himself. And I think I had nothing but time to watch players play and every type of flair that could come through at that stage. So I really enjoyed watching, and I think that really sort of helped me, with my learning as a player.
And your passion began right there, right?
100%.
Helen, your first playing experience, can you take us back to that?
Yeah, probably would have been in the back garden or across the road, because I lived in Kingsgrove and there was a park across the road. So probably that. But first proper playing experience would be at school, in primary school, like year 4, 5, 6 with the boys pretty much, because there was not many girls interested in that time.
Yep.
So I thought, I'm going to give it a go. And they obviously saw me and they said, oh, she's not too bad. So they accepted me into their crew, and every lunchtime and after school, whatever, we'd just meet up and have a kick around. So
you got a lot of street credit that stage.
Yeah, my brother was obviously 2 years younger than me, so he was a bit younger. But all his friends would say, "Oh, your sister's quite good," and then they'd all join in. So part of the gang at that time. So yeah.
Irene, you both attended Kingsgrove High School, and Helen was just relaying her experiences there. What about yours?
Yeah, I was in year 7 when Helena, Helena is my daughter, so sorry. Helen was in year, year 10?
Year
11.
10, yeah.
And I had started, obviously, my first playing experience, you can say, is in primary school, year 6, being selected to represent the district and participating in a 4-day competition in normal size fields, normal size goals, being small at that time, but I think it helped us to develop a bit of an idea of the game, being so young, and that was my only outlet at the time to play through school. So
looking back, that would have been a really huge step in your footballing life.
Yeah, I just wanted a soccer ball to my feet any chance I could get. And no boy, no girl was going to stop me.
Moving into your club experience, firstly to you, Helen.
Yeah.
I think you're about 13 years of age.
I was about turning 13, I think that year it was, in May, because I was we think the season starting in April. But my first playing experience was for Beverly Hills Football Club back in the old days of Football St George. Women's league. Yep. There was no A's or anything like that. It was just one league. It was
all open, wasn't it?
Open, that's right.
So you were playing against ladies
30-year-olds, older ladies. So that was my first club experience. My dad was unfortunately the coach, so I couldn't do much. No, if I talk back, he'd say, 2 laps, that kind of thing. He had a cigarette in hand. It was a lot different back then. But yeah, he was our coach, and it was a good run for a few years of that. I think we won the premiership or whatever it was that one of the years. And then I got scouted, I guess, to go and trial out for Football New South Wales. Back then it was called New South Wales ITC, Intensive Training Centre, to trial in 94, 95. And I got into that team. And Tony Walmsley, who was one of the Mariners, Central Coast Mariners coach back in the old days, he was a new coach that they brought in from the UK. And he mentored us for a couple of years. He was a really good coach and had a good experience there. And then came back to St George FC.
Looking back, you're being an all-female experience at that stage. Did you feel as though you belonged there? And
yeah, it was good. It was a good challenge. I mean, I did still play, on the weekends with the boys and that, to catch up and because it was a bit sort of more physical.
Yep.
And I enjoyed that. But yeah, it was good to play in an all-female comp, not having to sort of tag along and play. Oh, can I play?
That's right. Early in your life.
Yeah.
Irene, your first club experience. Can you recall that?
Okay. Look, I think. This kind of thing came harder for me, unfortunately. I had a few challenges in being able to participate in soccer officially.
Yes.
So I had to sort of fight for
family
my
struggles,
opportunity to go into that sport, into this sport, which, at that time, my parents could see that there was an extra bit of passion for a girl, which, was probably unpreferred at the time. But they learnt to understand it.
So you travelled a fair distance as well, and you had to be accepted by other families.
Yeah,
from Bathurst, etc., and other regional areas.
So once they, saw that I was sort of being selected for a few things, I think the first year of high school, I was playing PSSA sports, and I got scouted there early on by a coach from a different association altogether, and found myself. I think I would have been 13 years old playing with women who were close to their 20s in a higher grade, trialling out and making it. However, my parents at that time probably didn't see it something that they sort of may preferred for me.
Envisaged for you, yes.
Yeah, so, and to be playing even with one of the Matildas there, to know that I was amongst, really good players, having that opportunity. Was really big for me at that age. So, but I went on to, trial out for St George Reps, the first opportunity that I could get to play in the area.
That takes us to our next year, but also reconnecting with Helen too through the reps at St George FC.
Somehow we found ourselves trialling out for St George Reps. I hadn't played for a club yet, but that was my first outlet that, my parents pushed me to go in, and I was luckily enough able to make it into the all-age group.
Helen, that was in 1998?
Oh, around that time.
Around the late
my
90s?
Memory's a bit, sort of mid-90s to late 90s. But that was around that time. I was still in high school, I believe. But that was, I went to that and played after I played with New South Wales Institute. I came back locally because I had to do my Year 12 studies, so my dad couldn't really take me to Parkley, Valentine, VSP 4 nights a week. It was too far. And he said, you need to focus on your career, because it was still not really thought as, it's just a game you play. There was no money in it, and it wasn't. It was not professional or semi-professional. It was just something that you like doing. So I sort of pulled back and thought I'll go try out for some local team, and I went to St George and played there. And we had a coach, Peter Coots, I think, and Russell Baker, who's now passed. Unfortunately, he was an amazing mentor.
Yes, from Dolls Point Football Club.
He was, part of the community. So, he was involved in that as well. I did a few years there. But I played into I think it was 21, and then I sort of stopped my retirement just because obviously I had other things that happened. I met my partner back then, and went to the UK, lived there for 2 years. So everything took a
back step.
That's right.
Back seat.
That's it.
So pretty much when you got married, you didn't play at all.
Since that, when I stopped playing, basically like around 2002, that was my last ever. And I got married in 2006, and then nothing. Then we had 3 kids throughout that time. And then it was only till Zoe was playing for Connells Point in the under-7s division that I thought, hey, you know what, I might want to do it. But that didn't eventuate for another few years. Obviously, certain things happened. I went through a divorce in 2019. excuse me. And then around 2020, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go because I was ready for a challenge. And I did start playing back again in 2020 for Lugano, actually, with Sue Dick.
Summer football.
Yeah, over 30s football at Football St George, and I loved it every minute of it. And then I thought I'm going to try it for winter, and that was it.
Irene, yourself, playing up until your relationships and having kids, what was it like? Are you playing with certain clubs? I remember you telling me about Earlwood Wanderers as well, and Hurstville Glory, and you played for a few clubs as well. And,
yes.
And you were playing in between your pregnancies.
Yes, I think any chance I got in between those, having 3 children, marriage, I was back at it. I just couldn't stay away from it, really. I think physically, mentally, it gave me so much to get through that time in my life as well. So, and I think it's a bit of an addiction for me, just coming back at it every season. FOMO once again. Can't stay away from it. And, I found myself coming to Earlwood after having my second child, not long after. Played a season, we got into the semis, found out I was pregnant in the semi-finals.
Yeah,
I was 8 weeks pregnant,
yeah.
And this, severe fear came over me of whether or not the ball was going to hit my stomach, which, everything was all good in the end. A bit risky, but, I couldn't, there was a part of it that just couldn't miss out.
Love it.
So anyhow, look, I found myself coming and going, or not coming and going. I came back to St Susie for another 4 or 5 years.
Prior to that, there was a memory you were telling me about that will stand out, and that's the Champions of Champions with Hurstville Glory back in about 2003.
Yeah, so I was with Kingsgrove All Stars not long after playing with
Kingsgrove
St George.
Olympic. Yeah, they merged to become Hurstville Glory.
Yeah, so they came together. We were training down at Penshurst, where we currently commentate.
Yes.
So I found myself training there. We got to Champions of Champions, played right up until the semis once again.
Yep.
We lost in the semis, unfortunately, but it was a really good game against North Sydney. My coach at the moment, at that time, Nick Koutsourais, had a big effect on my life. He was a bit of a mentor as well. And obviously another person who was got me back to St Susie was Anna De Venice. She and I, we went to primary school together. She invited me to come to the club, and I found myself there ever since.
So both you ladies meeting at St George FC in your early teens, so you reconnected again in 2020 when you started playing back again full-time after a long presence, Helen, and and that was for Connells Point Rovers, and at that time, Irene, you were playing for St Susie All-Age Women's Seas, and you reconnected again through the love and passion of football.
Yeah, no, it was a good season that season. Actually, we met in the final.
Yes.
At Peakhurst Park. So it was good. Good
to get back into it.
Yeah,
Eleanor.
Yeah,
like old times.
It was. It was that was where we used to play as well at Peakhurst Park. Yeah. So we played there and at Bestick Street back in the day.
Good memories of that park.
Obviously, it wasn't synthetic, but it was grass. But it was just going back, back to the 90s again.
Reminding us of the big hill runs that we used to do.
And actually, I remember
St George's.
Russell was there as well. Russell Baker came down to watch us, and he's like, it was just an amazing experience to have someone like who mentored me a lot in my playing.
Fantastic.
Come down and watch. That was a really good moment for me.
He was a big mentor for us. Yeah.
Well, you came back bigger, better, stronger than ever, Helen.
I feel that. I don't know. I think it's just mindset. I think that's, I'll be 45 next year in the next year's season, and I still look to play hopefully for Premier League, and that's my passion. So I just think it's just being in the right mindset. Obviously having kids and going through sort of life changes and that makes you stronger. But it's just the passion that's driving me, and the kids obviously all playing as well. So,
I saw you play Premier League, coming on as a substitute maybe in about 2021.
Yeah.
You weren't starting, but this year you were a rookie at 43 years of age, starting Premier League matches for Connells Point Rovers, and I just had an immediate feeling that you belonged there. And once you believed that, your football did all the talking.
Yeah, look, I didn't think I could do it, but fitness-wise, I managed to survive this season. I did have in a match with Coogee, I busted 2 ribs, but I kept playing that game, thinking it was just I was winded. But I had 2 games off, 3 games off, and I came back stronger. So, you know, it's just having that right mental attitude. I think that's what it is, and mentoring the young players because, you know.
A lot of the girls will be half your age in your team.
Yeah.
And do they look up to you and say...
We do. We banter. It's like I feel like I connect with them as well, like not just in a mum sort of way, but just, like it's just good to have that balance in a team, I think, to have a very, like, difference of age. Just because you're, like, in your 30s or 40s doesn't mean that you're over it. I think it's just if you're fit enough to play and you know you can play and you know,
just
don't see a number.
Never stop learning, do you?
No, I'm still learning too. I had to play a new position, so yeah.
Irene, you were having a bit of a banter about those days back in the all-age Cs in 2020, and that's when your all-age women, you know, career started with Sans Susie. Tell us about that.
Look, I found myself back there. What year was it? It was straight after having Antonia. So, yeah, my youngest is now 5 years old. So I started as soon as I could after having her. Mm-hmm. And now it's been 4 or 5 seasons. We were lucky enough this season to get put up to the Bs.
Regraded from all age women's Cs, yeah.
Which was a big thing for us. Really exciting for me as, you know, obviously, you know, I can be quite competitive. And I think finding myself going up was, you know, what I wanted, which, you know, is ideal, being so used to playing A grade in the past. So it was a good thing for us.
Well, you made it to the grand final qualifier. I know you didn't win the game. You came off disappointed because you didn't get the result.
It was a big thing for us to go up first and then to make it into the preliminary final as well, which was, from a C grade to go that way. That was big for us.
Well, 2023 saw a monumental event for female football in Australia and New Zealand. It was the FIFA Women's World Cup, both co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand. And we're going to get the thoughts of the ladies about that event. Helen, first to you.
Yep.
When you heard the news, what did you think?
I was so excited. I remember the announcement and just the amount of like excitement. I thought, oh my goodness, something that massive will come to Australia and we can be part of it with our families, and that was once in a lifetime for me. I think it was similar to when we got the Olympic Games. I was a lot younger then, and it was something to look forward to in that 7-year period that when we found out. But that massive World Cup feeling was just, I don't think not many people knew what was coming until like 2 months prior to it happening here.
I think most of us in the game know how big it was going to be, but the rest of Australia caught up when it actually happened.
Yeah.
Irene, to you, what did you think when the first announcement came out that Australia and New Zealand would co-host the World Cup?
Well, FIFA World Cup, I was in my element, you know, spending that many years from young, having my little TV in my room, staying up all hours of the night to watch every single game, to know every single player, every single team that was in the World Cup. You know, I was pushing that from young, trying to sort of connect with other girls from a young age. That was really difficult from being, you know, playing at such a young age. Yes. Being into football as a girl, it wasn't very highly understood. So this was my moment to, you know, make people understand this is a big thing, and to bring it into our country, and, you know, to make other people, other kids of all ages to understand the effect this has on the world.
Absolutely.
What it does for everyone. It brings everyone together.
Embracing.
This is what we needed in Australia.
Helen, you couldn't wait to volunteer.
Yeah, like I knew it was something I wanted to do, so I put my hand up pretty early, and I was one of the long-term volunteers at Barangaroo with FIFA for about 8 months prior. We were in charge of helping out the team there to do they had to get through 5,000 interviews for volunteers, so we did lots of teams meetings. So a lot of the process was that, and just support for the people that work there. So and that happened, and I ended up with in the competitions management team, which is what I wanted, because I was right there with the teams and that. So doing match operations. So I got my dream role, and I had a lot of, you know, I did the final, semi-final, quarter-final, opening match with Ireland and Australia, and all the matches in between as well. So it still hits me now thinking, wow, what a massive thing to do for me. Like, you know, holding the FIFA match ball for the opening game and giving it to the match director, that's something you can't
explain.
No, you can't. It's just still there.
And you were there for the Spain-England final
as well. I was, yeah.
And you were there behind the scenes, so you're very privileged to have access to that area. Yeah,
it was amazing. I mean, I was obviously allocated Team England when England and Australia played, so we had to be very neutral. Obviously, when Sam Kerr scored, we just heard the roar, and I was like, secretly inside. But, you know, it was just an amazing experience to see them so close and to be part of something special. Yeah.
Irene, you embraced it as well, but probably in a more family sense by taking your children to the games and really embracing the event.
Yeah, we were there for quite a few games. They actually did a big interview at San Suzy FC on the morning show to show, you know, the
Sunrise show
effect
came out to Clayton Reserve.
Yes. Female football, what's happening with the World Cup. The excitement, all that occurred at that stage was, you know, obviously our country was just starting to wake up to, you know, this sport that's, you know, been introduced more so to female participation in the last, you know, however many years. I think it became a big thing. So it was, you know, it's essentially coming to its own, which is what, you know, we've wanted, I think, as female players ourselves.
I remember you telling me your son made a very poignant statement that he wanted to go out and watch a football game.
Well,
he never said really whether it was girls or boys. He just goes, I want to watch this game, Mum.
Oh,
and because it was football involved.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have really warmed your heart.
Yeah, I think my son growing up having a mum playing soccer is something very different to what I've grown up with, you know, having more so the fathers being the soccer players. So
the
you
female
know,
perspective.
And I don't know how that's going to what kind of effect that's going to have on my son, to be honest. I know that there's a positive effect in the way that he knows that his mother's a very active, you know, person, and I think that motivates him to, you know, keep in sport himself as well, and to motivate him to want to do things in sport in the future.
Yep.
But I think to see women playing, you know, on a pitch where you've got that many people watching the game and supporting it, you know, there's no way not to support something like that. You know, it was a big movement. Yeah.
Your son too, Helen?
Yeah, no, I mean, Ollie's 6 years old and I was their coach this year for the under-7s team. And he wanted a Courtney Vine shirt. So, I mean, to have a son to say, I want Courtney Vine on my back of the Australian jersey, that's never happened. Like, I mean, in my generation, it was like, oh, the girls would get the boys on the back, you know, and having that. And, yeah, we're like, as a role model, like, you know, and he's got a mad left foot too, I must say. So I'm proud.
Mum too, yeah.
And my nephew Harry as well, he's a lefty as well.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and Tony as well.
There you go.
There you go. Some cold hard facts about the World Cup. Just under 2 million spectators in Australia and New Zealand viewed all matches. The highest ever viewed program in Australian TV history was the semi-final between Australia and England. 11.1 million viewers viewed that, and that's 42% of the viewing population of Australia. That's just astounding. And a side note, in China, 53.9 million people watched Australia play England in the semi-final. So we know what it felt like here, the wave, the emotion and the love of the game. For the people who've followed rugby league, AFL and union knows the power of this game now that it really attracts. But now the tents have been packed up, the fanfare's gone. Helen, what would you like to see the legacy left behind from this 2023?
I think I'm excited for next season. I think the knock-on effect will be massive for kids, not just girls and boys too, wanting to play football. I think for us it's important to have like the right investment in the game, like keep supporting the coaches, keep supporting the volunteers and the clubs, and just make them more accessible to a lot of people, because I find sometimes it might get a bit harder for some, if you've got 4 or 5 kids, it's like, oh, gosh.
Obviously, yes.
But I think the passion's there, and I think coming off that World Cup and Australia doing so well in it, we'll see a massive knock-on effect, and I'm excited about what it will bring.
Do you think the actual event itself, or maybe like now that the fanfare is gone, what actually needs to be put in place to make the female game actually thrive more in Australia?
I think getting it more out there, like, getting on television, getting it like streamed more. That's
more
important.
Accessible?
More accessible. Like, having the streaming services we have now is amazing to see, even in NPL level or club level.
Yes.
Having it more out there because people can see it, like they're doing with the rugby league, with the women's game, and that's on television.
Especially to the younger
I think that's important, because back in our days we didn't have anything to watch apart from the men and the Italian 90 and the World Cups, and that was all on television.
SBS.
There's not. But the streaming services now, I think that's the technology now will be more easy to push that.
So hopefully more viewership through that.
Yeah, and then into, and getting connected with the kids in schools and stuff, that kind of, getting them out there and say, hey, you can play, Just contact your local club or association and give it a go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Irene, the legacy from the FIFA Women's World Cup we just had here in Australia and New Zealand, after now all the fanfare's gone and the tents have been packed, what kind of legacy would you like to see in the female football space, emanating from that event here in Australia?
Well, 100%. What's happening now is you can see women, backing themselves. They're playing up until our age, as mums. It's brought on participation from all ages, young and old. I think there needs to be a bit of a focus on making sure that the players are well managed, put into the right, divisions, so that they're participating at their level. So a focus on that. A focus on maintaining ethics, continuously in a positive way, teaching our girls to participate positively as a team player, to learn how to play as a team, because I think there's a lot of factors that need to be looked at when it comes to what we're teaching our girls from young, when they're first starting, whether and I know a lot of women are coming into the sport now because they may have wanted to play in the past but haven't had that push, and this has been a push for.
Absolutely.
And I think us two standing here before the camera today speaking about this, I think it's going to bring a bit of attention to mothers.
Yep.
About belief that you can do it at any age, and I think, soccer's obviously a sport where it's quite physical. There's always that chance of injuries that, bring a lot of fear into participation. But, I can tell you now, I've kept going. Whatever's come along, injury-wise, I keep pushing myself to keep going, because I think, you're going to play soccer for less years than not playing. And that's something one person, said to me that stuck with me. And I think, that's been a push for me to continue on for as long as I can go.
So by driving
keeping
the
that participation as well, not just for older women, young girls, bringing girls in, from a young age so that they, can establish all the skills that they need to
social as well,
to push, into a good direction for themselves, for their football journeys. Everyone has a different journey, and trying to keep the guidance there, the right people guiding them in the right directions.
Yep, giving them positive influences.
It's very hard to know which way to go at different stages in players' journeys. So it's having the right people there to guide them.
Helen, you're 44 years of age at the moment. How long would you like to play?
Hopefully till over 50. I don't want to put a number on it, because I never thought I'd come back at this age either. So
you'll keep playing as long as you enjoy it.
I think as I said before, mindset. Like, I think if you can do it, like, you have some roadblocks, you break something, you do this, you just get back through it.
Yep.
You don't see it as a negative thing. So unless your body shuts down, just your knees are gone. Sorry. But for me, it's like I'd like to play as long as I can, and my dream would be to play with my oldest and possibly Ava as well in the joint team, in an all-age team.
Competition.
Yeah,
wow.
that'd be great. And I'm still coaching now as well as playing, so coaching will take over when my legs don't work, I think, properly.
So your passion for the game will be pretty much until you leave the earth.
That's it.
And from the day you arrived as
That's
well.
That's right. Yep.
Looking at the female football space from when you first started and remember until now, there's been a huge change, a huge shift.
Massive.
Obviously, the World Cup has helped.
Yeah.
But what would you like to see to be put in place to improve the overall football, even starting from an association level? Maybe a dedicated pathway or something like that.
Yeah, I think we've got the things that there at the moment, just ensuring that there's more funding to it from government, whatever it is, like to keep pushing that to make it
Sam
easier.
Kerr keeps talking about this, doesn't she?
Yeah, I think a lot of the players are that, like, the pathways when we were starting in the 90s, they were there, but they weren't massive because not much participation for females. It was just like, oh, she's a female, like, it wasn't as much as it was now. It's harder now, I think, for girls to make it to Australia to play at national level or state level because there's so many kids playing, which is great.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing. So
yeah.
What are you going to say
obviously that the quality has elevated.
Yes.
With this movement, that's it's not just now that just because of the World Cup. It was occurring those years leading up.
Yeah.
So with that, there's going to be continuous quality improvements. There's going to be a lot of girls coming into the sport. So that's where I was just talking about the management of that, ensuring that goes in the right. That's executed correctly. So bringing in the right people, and a lot more females are coming in with the management now. You can see with Weigman, with the World Cup, with
the English coach, yes.
I mean, coaches like that, we need to work on getting more, participation from, skilled, people who have been playing that know the game.
For
that
potential
can help
coaches to
players.
be coached in that sense, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, not just female, but a lot of males have really helped women's football.
Yeah.
I'm so blessed to have had so many males really, take on that job of, looking after our teams and, guiding us the way that they have. Like, I mean, they've gone against, the grain by coming into a women's football team and taking on as coach. I mean, there was a sense of achievement for them too to come in and do that, so that was pretty big for that many years of those men to take that on.
Just going back to your early years, Irene, in the female football space, I know it was a little bit difficult to get a foothold for you from what you were saying a little bit earlier, in regards to your twin brother and just the female football space at that time, and you progressed through to, to club level to be playing at regular football on a weekly basis in a good female program. And what can you see that needs to be implemented to actually make the game thrive even more and just to make young girls, make them comfortable to come into the game, not just, oh, Mum, can you, for them to say, yeah, I want to be part of this. And
yeah, I think it starts from, who's involved in management, once again, ensuring that, the team comes together and everyone backs themselves, like as a team. There needs to be, a camaraderie when it comes to the team
everyone
coming together.
Page, yeah.
Everyone's got to work towards a common goal,
yep.
Whether it's whatever goals they have for their team. Every team has a different goal at every different stage of the season, every different season. So, making sure that everyone's on the same page, working towards that. And I think, there's when it comes to the coaches, that their approach to coaching makes a huge difference to how the team performs in the end. So ensuring, I think you got to be lucky sometimes to have really good coaches that are very good at managing their team. I've been very lucky, once again, to have really good coaches, especially the ones that I have at the moment, which I might mention, Spiro and Peter, Dimitriadis, Spiro Papakostas. I think every club has a variety of different coaches with different approaches. So, being the male figures that we've had, they've got to be quite positive with their women and the young girls, making sure that these girls feel good about themselves. There's a lot of factors, I think, in managing women as well. So,
we could be for hours, but we won't go.
Yeah, but some men have it, some some don't, and I think it's ensuring that we've got the right people looking after the teams.
Well, that's a real positive outcome if that can happen, Irene. Well, in summing up, Helen, looking back over your career and what you've played, are there any moments that stick out in your mind? Be it coaching, playing, goals that you may have scored or things like that?
I've done a lot of that, I'd say. But like for me, having my 3 kids come and watch me play my semi-final match at Illingdon Sports Ground.
Yes.
In that before we met you guys.
2020?
Yeah, that was amazing to have them watch me. And
that was your first full year back after your
it was. And I remember scoring a nice left footer.
I think there's a video of us to remind that.
Yeah, there is. They missed that, unfortunately. They came at that time when it happened. And Brett Nielsen, a friend of mine who was a photographer, saw them saying, you missed Mum's goal. But anyway, it's online, which is great.
Yes.
But having them there to support me and come onto the field, I had their little teddy bears at the beginning of the game and I took a photo.
Yeah.
Just having them there support Mum, that was, as a mum, that's my ultimate thing.
That melted your heart the most.
Yeah. Goals, goals are goals, and memories you have, all positive. But I think having that was my moment.
That was pretty much.
And winning the premiership, so having the trophy and then holding it, putting lemonade in there and drinking from it. No, it was good time.
The love of football and the love of your family combining together.
Yeah,
a great way to finish. Irene, over to you. Been playing for many years now. Are there any memories or highlights that stick out? Might be family things or individual things that you may have done on the field. Can you recall any of those moments?
Yeah, look, many. Now that at this stage in my life, I think looking back on that many seasons that I've played, every season has so many different things that occur, and I think that's the beauty of football is the variety of experiences that you can come across.
Just keeps evolving.
And prior to kids, those achievements, stood at that time to be such a big thing in my life. I think, it was everything at the time. When you're playing a semi-final, grand final, whatever it is, that moment, you cherish those moments being on the field. There's a vibe, there's a feel.
Yeah, with your teammates.
Every game, you play those big moments, they stay with you forever. And now that, to be experiencing it, making a grand final and then to have your child run on, wanting to be a part of it because
just
they
like
can
Helen
see,
was mentioning,
they can see that you're a part of something big. They can see that there's everyone around you, there for you to support, and just being a part of something like that. It's so special for everyone involved. That support means everything to you as a player, and once again, like Helen said, to have 3 kids sitting there watching you going, wow, that's my mum over there doing that. My mum did that on the field. My mum got us back into, the game. She scored a goal.
You can't replicate those.
There's nothing like those feelings. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, in summing up, Helen, do you have a message for young girls and ladies that want to play the game, regardless of age or standard? There's always a place for somebody, isn't there?
No, just get a ball and give it a go. There's no age limit. I'd like to see more older, as I said, not mums or anything, just anyone that's over older 30, 40, you don't have to be, I'm over it now, I can't play. Yeah. Just go and play social soccer. Comps. There's social comps as well. Yeah. And that kind of thing. But the girls, I think having that World Cup we had and being a family friendly event, I've never seen, because I went there with my kids too and saw many games and it was a different vibe. I think the female football it was really calm and just family orientated.
Yeah, especially in the bleachers.
Yeah, so it was really good to see that, and lots of mums taking their kids and dads and with their daughters or whatever. That was amazing to see. So I think, just get involved. It should be pretty easy to do. I think just get a ball first of all and start kicking it around on the wall, because that doesn't happen as much either. So we did back in the old days. Just the first touch is important, I think. At that age when you first get a ball, just to kick it around.
Now, we can't go by without asking you about your love of football teams in other parts of the world.
Oh, well, I have to sort of say I'm happy because they played today, didn't they? So
they did?
Yeah,
Bayern Munich we're talking about?
Yes, Bayern Munich and Man United, so yeah.
And other teams that you follow?
I follow Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League over in England. In local leagues, obviously Sydney FC for the females and men's teams. But just generally, I love watching it. I haven't stopped watching it since I was a kid. So, if it's on television or on stream, I'd watch whatever it is, even if it's just a random game,
Irene, in summing up, do you have a message for young girls or women that want to take up this game? Because, it's readily available now in any area that you live in, and really it's a game that, as you were talking about before, you could share memories with forever.
Yeah, look, this is big, for girls to have these opportunities that they have. Women such as us, we had to fight really hard for it, and I know that a lot of those, the 1975, women's Australian team, this World Cup has brought some attention to them. Being the first to participate in a women's World Cup. Going into history, if you look back that far, you can see, this is something that was fought for, and it came, for us at more of a cost, So to know just how much, women have fought for this, I think grab it with your hands, take every opportunity, you can get in this sport. You know, there's nothing more exciting than being a part of something that's, you know, so well respected in the world. You know, a sport like this, you know,
Yes.
football, we can call it now. You know, it's been soccer for that many years, but, you know, we're claiming
Universally
this football.
yes.
Yeah, and I think grab those opportunities. If you have any, you know, level of skill, you know, be part of it. Like Helen said, I think, you know, you just want to be amongst it. It brings the communities together, brings people together. You know, you could be having a rivalry with someone off the field. Soccer will just bring you together. Like, you know, no matter what, you can always have a laugh.
Yeah.
You can always have fun with it. This is, you know, there's so many elements.
It's the
in
world
this
game
sport.
because it's the international language.
Exactly. We all laugh about it. We all, you know, enjoy those moments together. You know, a goal gets scored for Australia. What happens in the country? It brings everyone together.
Especially on the live sites when you see everyone just goes nuts.
We saw everyone go
The
crazy.
flares.
Exactly.
That was part of my
We've grown up
childhood.
with
We've
the
grown up.
flares.
I shouldn't say it, but no. You know, we were involved when it was all crazy
it.
back in the old days.
Yeah.
And that's just that atmosphere.
Yeah, there's
and
nothing
the
like
energy.
it. Nothing like it.
Irene, teams that you follow, whether here or abroad, is there any teams that you could take any interest in?
I think you know, watching the World Cup, you know, with all these new players that have come through, obviously seeing, you know, like my favourite players for the Matildas at the moment are Catley, who, you know, she stepped up with the World Cup this time, and I have a lot of respect for players such as her and Fowler, you know, coming through. I think, you know, Gorry. There's so many. Obviously, you know, we've got how many players that are playing in the, you know, in the overseas countries
competitions
that have even, you know, just recently been signed up. You know, like Hunt.
There's a lot of them actually.
You know, how many are getting
Hayley
signed
Russo.
up now? Russo, you know, first player to go to Real Madrid.
Yep.
I mean, you know, these are big movements for us in Australia. So, you know, players that are developing overseas that are getting that, you know, that sort of that level of
the experience as well,
training,
like the European leagues.
you know, exactly. You know, it's good. It can only do good for the next generations to come. It's just going to continue on. It's going to keep going from strength to strength. So it's amazing to see.
Well, that just about wraps it up. The passion that these two ladies have shown, you know, both, you know, at a local level especially, and you know, going through their kids and that. I hope that came through today because, you know, it can happen to you if you wanted to, if you want to participate in the game. These two ladies have shown us that from the very difficult and humble beginnings that they've been able to participate in the world game of football in the female space freely and available in 2023 and hopefully for many more years to come. Helen, thanks very much for your time today.
Thank you, Jack.
Irene, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
having
you for
me.
viewing out there, guys. Hope you enjoy this. Thanks and bye for now.